inside the glove, so then it warms up your hands, and they're just fantastic, you know. But
from Wheelers?
Yeah, but that's the sponsor of Dirk's team as well, and they've got overshoes as well, which work the same. Sometimes when you're riding, you'll get a flow of water when you press a different way, and your feet feel, oh, that's hot water, you know. It's really funny. But the important thing, I think, is hands, feet, and head. This is important as well. These are the points that lose the most heat, and even your crutch is really important as well. It might sound funny, but I have bad weather, I have thick singlets, and I make sure they're long enough, and I pull them down and tuck them underneath my crutch, underneath my shorts. Because if your singlet slips up and you've only got thin lycra shorts, the wind's coming straight through your shorts onto your penis, your ball bag, and like, even though you get cold, you lose so much energy through those points, you know. If you've got a t-shirt, like pull it over, you know, whatever you want to do, stick something down there just to keep that coldness off it. You know, it's a weird subject, but you know that's important.
I've seen neoprene shorts on the market. Are you guys that neoprene? I was flipping through some English bike mag a couple months ago. They were advertising neoprene shorts.
What magazine was this?
I don't know about neoprene shorts. That sounds wild. What happens if it stops raining?
Well, I just kidding.
You have to.
Like a rubber raincoat. Tell us about the magazine you read.
Do you wear it with studs in or out there?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. You got block on the back too, right? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, a little tandem partner.
Yeah.
All right. Any more general questions on tactics?
Like on the Criterium. So you think you can hammer from bell to bell or something like that? If you're thinking that it'll drop people out. Would it be worth you trying to get off in the front or just kind of stay in the middle? Because that race is not really long enough, like you're talking like a 100-mile stage race, everybody's kind of doing these different things. I mean, that race is pretty open.
How long are criteriums?
What, 30, 40
miles? 40 miles.
That's a long, they're usually like 25.
40 k's an hour riding.
40 to 80 clicks.
I used to, when I was younger, my first few years, I had a lot of those in England. I used to love riding them. I used to just get into it straight from the gun, you know. If you're a sprinter, though, you've got to use a different tactic.
What would you do?
Probably try and force a break and then profit from the other guys. Initiate the break with your sprint, because your sprint will take you away from the other guys who aren't fast. You know, pick a moment out of a corner even. Pick a corner, or after a sprint. When they've all sprinted for a preem, you don't sprint for it, you just stay near the front. With your power, you just hit them straight over the top. Go as hard as you can for half a lap, and there won't be many guys with you, that's for sure.
There's there's a guy who writes for the Coors Light team who does that, Roberto Gaglioli. It's a classic tactic. Gets away early in a break,
Sits
works
on.
real hard at the first part of the break, sits back at the end, it's hammer time, and if there's a race or does.
Well, that's what Post used to say with the Panasonic team overseas as well. Get away in a break, ride with them, and then sit on. And then say, well, we've got Van der Raden and all these sprinters back there, I'm not allowed to ride, you know.
That's what
tactic.
Post always said. Our tactic is, we never ride. And all the other teams said it also, we never ride.
We're always protecting, yeah.
Yeah, if Van der Raden and Phil Anderson and so they were in the peloton and it was a breakaway, Peiper and the Roche were there. So we have to chase behind them. And in front, they don't have to ride because Van der Raden was behind. And so nobody's riding.
Yeah.
And then everything come together 10 kilometers from the end.
But like
then the
you,
whole team is riding for the sprint.
For you, you've got nobody to rely on like that, so...
Yeah, the thing is, I'm big, everybody's going to get behind me.
The thing is, with your sprint, they all want to be with you, you know.
You have to find a
But
good
the thing
partner
is,
to be behind.
because you're so fast, when you make a gap, you don't want to be out there for 20 laps alone, do you?
Right.
So you want to get the gap 50 metres, ride half a lap as hard as you can go, and just be looking around, have a see what the bunch is doing after the half a lap. You know, only 3 guys have got with you. Keep going hard, get those guys working. Show them that you're not just a sprinter, you want to ride on the front. Because if you say, well, I'm a sprinter, I don't ride, you know, they're not going to ride with you for sure because they know they'll be beaten. So what you do is show them that you're going to ride, and then when they start riding around and it's stable that you're going to stay away, then you start doing, like I said before, you start soft pedaling a little bit, you know, just get to the front, back in again. Miss a turn now and then, make sure someone else pulls up out of the corner, that you're in the wheel for the corners. because that loses energy as well. You know, let them do the corners and pulling up out of the corner. You stay in the wheel or on the hill or the headwind section. Make sure you switch it round so they're doing the headwind sections and you're not. That you do the downhill section of the turn or something like that. If you can see that you can time it well, let someone in your place where the head section is going to be, so you follow them through and then you turn the corner and you do the downhill, which is easier. Just, you know, you're a sprinter, you know, just be foxy. Alright, I think that's about it. If there's no more questions, we'll move on. We're going to do some things on diet. We're just going to show a short film, 15 minutes, on nutrition. Have a short talk about that. And then I think that'll be just about wrap up.
How do you work this thing?
The Brew Crew.
Cycling team, created in 1989, now dominates American cycling. These precision-trained athletes have captured the attention of cycling enthusiasts and the general public as well. Everyone now wants a piece of the action. And everyone wants to know their winning edge. As the most interviewed cycling team in racing today, the press and public want to know how this team combines the best of technology, talent, and teamwork to produce a winning formula week after week.
As a professional athlete, you want to have every advantage you can possibly get because it's your career. It's your whole life, so to speak, and it can also be a very lucrative kind of thing. So they try to create the best training program they possibly can, using the best equipment and any kind of support that they can get. Chiropractors have been enormously beneficial because they can fine-tune the body. Supplements and nutrition are crucial because those are the ingredients of fuel along with good food that will allow them to reach maximum potential. So they're very interested in anything that will support their career, support their endeavors. Now, we select our equipment sponsors based on a fairly democratic process. I talk to the riders. I ask them what they want. And believe me, they have very strong opinions on what they want.
And what's just most recently come to the top level racing bikes, which I think will eventually filter down as the shifting mechanism whereby you can keep your hands on the handlebars and keep them near the brakes and still be able to shift your bike. And that's what we've used for the last year or so, which has just improved the efficiency of riding tremendously, because a lot of times you would just not want to take your hands off the handlebars, especially going up hills or down hills, and you just wouldn't shift as frequently. But in order to keep the right cadence and the right RPM, it's actually quite a bit easier when you can just shift when your hands are right where the shift levers are constantly.
We can work with the very best equipment suppliers that the riders want. We can provide them with the highest level of technical feedback, and it's a mutually beneficial thing for everybody.
I really like the way, as far as it's built, as far as the technical way it's built, it's really good, but the whole thing is heavy.
Well, see what we can do.
Everybody takes their bike and they wash it meticulously and they change the chain, they lube it, and you got to be very aware to do the same thing with your body, because the bike rolls, but you're the machine, and the machine's the first priority. It's like new handlebar tape looks good, but it's not going to make you go any faster.
One of the most insightful things I learned years ago in the old Coors Classic, which was the premier cycling event throughout the 1980s, was that doctors are crucial during a multi-day event. When your body starts to hurt and things start to bother you, or you're not really running at optimum levels, what we found is the chiropractors were a lot more beneficial.
You know, chiropractors are so easy to work with. You know, there's no real abuse on your body. It's not like they're going to put any chemicals in you or anything. You know, it's just easy just to go in and say, you know, check me out, what do you think? Yeah, they're always good with back problems and leg length problems. And so many little injuries, there are things that become big, start with really small things. And I just think chiropractors are just, again, a maintenance thing.
Okay, body back. Let's correct this hip joint. Relax your leg. Good. I'm just going to do a gentle tug. Good. Perfect. Now, let's just check the range of motion. That's good. Come here. Good. Stand up. Hold the muscle out strong. I want to see. How does that feel? Better. Great. Okay. Sit up again for me.
What we try and do is put motion into jammed and fixated joints. So if the joint is not moving properly through its normal range of motion, we analyze or diagnose the problem and try and put motion back into that segment with something called an adjustment. It doesn't hurt and it works very well.
Let's just check that hip joint, make sure we restore normal motion to there as well. Okay. How does that feel? Good.
I think all of the guys found benefit in the chiropractic, particularly at training camp when they're going through that adjustment period from not riding so many miles to suddenly riding a lot of mileage. All of them were adjusted, and I think all of them responded very well, particularly when the chiropractic was used in combination with massage.
Teams like the Coors Light team are on the cutting edge of their training and their performance, and chiropractic care is certainly part of that package.
They didn't say anything as far as preference for drinks, just do a little
Put
bit.
carbo in and water for Alexi.
Well, this is my first year with the Coors Light team. I've been with other teams, and the thing I've probably noticed the most is the level of support from staff and sponsors for this team. It's absolutely fabulous. These guys are so well taken care of.
Well, we've been working with it for 2 years, and we go to training camp, and we conduct a training course on the new things that have been discovered regarding how nutrients can improve their performance, can improve their endurance, can shorten their recovery time, make them stronger, and then we had a chance to discuss with the riders specifically how the biochemistry of the product actually works.
Well, when you're on a 10-day road race, you need to take maybe 1, 2, or 3 doses afterwards.
Yeah. You have it. We know the chart.
What I found over the years, and increasingly what riders are finding themselves, is that supplements are really beneficial. Let's face it, all these guys have great bodies, and they're really talented, and they're physically fit. So I had to look at it objectively, and I had to find out what would work, what wouldn't work, and why, because it's my job. Anyone, I think, who is interested in who's serious is their athletics, whether it be a hobby or a job, yes, if they are seeing the right doctor to find out what supplements they do need or don't need, it's definitely going to make a difference in performance.
Good job, Dirk.
The master.
Oh yeah, packed my 3 teammates on the hill.
Well, the guys take the supplements, the metagenic supplements, daily. And they've all had blood tests and blood work done so that they're on their own particular supplement program. So they're doing that on a daily basis. In terms of the metagenics drink mixes, they're drinking those during training in addition to the races. And what they're getting from that is high carbohydrate for the amount of liquid they're taking in. And that just helps them to continue riding and having energy to burn.
What is mix?
It's an Enduro lemon. Right?
Well, in our sport, it's so vital that you have a team. The whole organization is a team. Even within the sport, I don't think people understand how the entire organization of a team is what makes me cross the line first. And it's initially not just the riders, but also the organization of the team with Mike Pettyjohn as a director, you know, it's hard to find a good director, someone who has the right blend of confidence, support, yet still is the boss. If I didn't have good massage therapy and good support outside of the race, then physically I might not feel as good, or psychologically I might not feel that I have the backing to win. You have a good mechanic. If my bike wasn't working properly, I wouldn't get to the finish line. So that works. And so a good team starts with a really good organization, and that's something that I look for, obviously, with Coors Light.
Really, riders are pretty spoiled. They just get up, they race, they get a massage, you know, they hang out. The amount that I work, as far as hours at a race, is 1/10 of what everyone else works. And that's why a good support crew is necessary, because usually they have to get up early and work late to take care of you. They're just taking the burden off of you, so that you can just race. And without it, you usually won't win.
Special cookies for a for you that don't have any.
Yeah, I like to hear, man.
Soigneur is a French term for a person that really just takes care of somebody. We have used the term United States massage therapist, and we refer to them as therapists or soigneurs. I prefer the term soigneur because they do more than just massage. That's crucial for the team, because when a guy spends 4 to 6 hours a day on a bicycle, he's going to get some sore muscles. I look for a therapist that has a lot of compassion. I look for a therapist that has good technique in terms of massage. I look for a person who can handle a huge workload, that really enjoys helping people, gets a lot of satisfaction out of seeing the team win, and can support somebody.
Yeah, okay, break them up.
So anyway, sandwich stuff is ready in there, guys, and, huh? Well, they know it's buffet style.
Is there any avocado today?
I have one avocado, so I love Geiger.
Now, the riders don't want to hear negatives. They decide not to worry about with racing their bikes, not to worry about, and not have to worry about having the right equipment, and having their equipment in good condition. Somebody said once, basically our job in one line is to make sure the riders have no excuses.
Bicycle race mechanics have to work under the worst conditions because they have to work outside. They set up with a temporary stand. They wash the bikes right after every race. They inspect every component on the bicycle, so the guy has to be very meticulous in terms of his critique and be fast because he's going to have to do a bunch of bikes in a hurry.
Gotta have the whole team. It's red tape.
Yes.
It looks great.
Our reputation precedes us because now we can go and get the best riders as well because the word is out that we've got a good organization. When I look for a team is I look for a group of specialists and some people who are support. Now, each one of those guys has tremendous raw talent, but you have to blend it together to create a team effort. And that's the crucial thing in bike racing is everybody will work together as a team.
There are a lot of teams with a lot of raw talent, but raw talent doesn't make a team.
Oh, you have all these great talents on the team, but if they're all riding for their own individual glory, or if they're not riding on a cohesive scheme that the team employs every race, it's not a team. It's a bunch of individuals. You still might get very good results, but you won't get the kind of dominance you'll get with 5 mediocre guys who are working well together every single race. We'll have team meetings beforehand and discuss what we would like to do, and occasionally that works out just perfectly, but there's no problem with things changing as they go.
The essence of the success of a team is that you want to work together, and again, I say it over and over again, if we win, I win. It's not if I win, we win. It's if we win, I win.
Thanks, pulled over for about 10 miles.
Yeah, I worked it definitely. I'm not sure work. What was it one? That was very good. Right, it was just good.
The Coors Light cycling team knows the importance of employing the best technology available to garner an edge, the best equipment, the best in nutritional supplements, and the best in chiropractic care. Together with the best talent and a passion for teamwork, the Coors Light cycling team has turned a competitive edge into a winning edge.
be pretty brief. It's just to give you a bit of an idea about how our day goes. Like my day is entirely different than these three people. You know, they work like flat out from sunrise till 10 o'clock when they have a beer and then climb back into bed again. So it's like pretty difficult for them. And us is more short work, but like pretty enduring, you know. Like I can't go and have a cry to Dirk about that. He'd just give me a clip in the ear. We usually get up, well, the night before we get a little piece of paper, probably half the size of one of these, and it's got like a few lines on it, and it just says what time we're getting up, what time we're having breakfast, what time we're leaving the hotel, where the start is, if we're going in the car, we're riding there, how far the race is, where the hotel is after the stage finish, if we're going there by car or by bike, and how far it is. So all these things give us a scheme for the next day, you know. So each room has 2 riders in it, so we get our piece of paper and, you know, take it back to our room. We can see, you know, exactly what goes on, so there's no mistakes. We usually, like, for instance, if it's let's say 11 o'clock start, 240 kilometres, we'll probably get up at 7:45, 8 o'clock, and breakfast will be about 8:15, 8:30. Sometimes eat 3 hours before the race, and other teams eat a bit less. Like with Panasonic, we used to eat 2.5, and if it was a really long stage, you might even eat a bit less, you know, 2.25 before the race. Not so bad then if you start with a bit of a more full stomach, you know, it lasts a bit longer as well. After we get up and, you know, get dressed, have a wash, you know, go down for breakfast, have our breakfast, and we're usually back up by 9 then. So that gives you time just to take your clothes off, put them in the suitcase, and close your suitcase. I forgot to say that on the piece of paper also, they have a time that you have to have your suitcase out in the hallway. So usually you'll have all your stuff ready, so you can just put your tracksuit in the suitcase, close it up, put your suitcase and your bag out in the hallway, and just have a little bag to take in the car with you for before and after the race or something. Question?
Would you say it's a bit like being in the Army?
Yeah,
At the
yeah, it
order
is.
of the day?
But the thing is, you've got in each team at any given race, you've probably got between 7 and 10 riders, and you've got 3 soigneurs, possibly 2 mechanics, director sportif, manager. So you've got all these people that have to be organised. If someone's not organised, there can be big slip-ups, you know. So it's a bit military, but it has to be that way, you know. Otherwise, it's just too unorganised. And then, say from 9:15, 9:30, when we have to put our suitcases away out in the hallway, then we've got half an hour where we probably, if we're driving in the car, then we'll get changed straight away, go straight downstairs to the cars with our bike clothes on, just shoes in the bag or something, and climb to the car, and we'll drive away and get there 3/4 an hour before the start. Otherwise, we might have half an hour more rest, just lay on the bed again, have a bit of a read, put our bike clothes on, get our legs rubbed in, and away we go on the bike to the start. Come into the finish, go straight to the team car, like they'll wash the legs off, take our shirts off, put another singlet on, and climb into the car and drive away. And otherwise, if it's not close by, we just ask the soigneur, where's the hotel? He says first street on the left and then 3 kilometres down to the right, or straight back, or something like that. And, you know, we all just group together at the car and then take off towards the hotel. Get back to the hotel. What I usually do is, I just learned from an old pro in Australia before I turned professional that the first thing to do is do all your work when you get back. So I just take all my clothes off, drop them on the ground, get my suitcase, open it up, get my tracksuit out, lay it on the bed, take my numbers off, put my shoes to the side, take my clothes into the bathroom with my toilet bag, put my toilet bag where it is, get my stuff set out and set up so I can have a wash. Wash all my clothes first with soap and soap powder in the basin, then rinse them out with cold water, take them out, get a towel, wring them out inside that side, get them dry, hang them up. I'm still dirty, right? Still got dirty legs and everything. Hang them up, and then they're finished as well. Go over with a wet towel, wipe my shoes off, polish them up, or just clean them with alcohol if they're time, just to get the grease and muck off them. Put them under the chair. I'll pin my numbers back on, get my shorts and everything out, put them on the back of the chair, my socks, everything. So all I have to do tomorrow, from between now and tomorrow morning, is nothing, you know. All I have to do every time I've got is for me, basically. I don't want to be mucking around with stuff for tomorrow, or washing or anything. Then after that, I'll go in and have a shower, have a shave or whatever, come out, put my tracksuit on. By that time it's either time for massage or you know you've got 15 minutes to relax or something, or 20 minutes to relax. And then the soigneur comes, you go for a massage, which takes like half an hour to 3/4 of an hour. Usually by the time massage is finished, it's pretty close to dinner time at 7:30. And we usually have dinner from 7:30 till 9 o'clock in the evening, or 9:15. Sometimes in France, 9:30, they take that long. And then possibly, because we change around, if there's 3 soigneurs with 9 riders, that means we have a rotation system of massage. So some nights you'll be first, you'll be before dinners, and other nights you might be getting massage at 10 o'clock, you know. One will go before dinner from say 7:15 till 7:30, and then we go for dinner. One will be from 9:15 till 10, and you might be on the table between 10 and 11, which is getting a bit late, so they swap it around all the time. And if you haven't got a massage after dinner, then by 9:15 you can either just go for a walk outside and have a bit of a chat, and then you're in bed 5 minutes later to have a read, turn the light off, and that's the day, you know. Otherwise, you're waiting around, you can have a read, and you're on the table, and you're just about asleep on the table by 11:15, then you're back into your bed. And that's how our day really runs, you know. Split stages like in the Tour de France make things even more hectic, you know. You've got to pack double sets of clothes, you've got to have towels with you. It's like, you know, and that night you've got more washing. You can't let things get out of control. Some teams have washing machines and dryers, but unfortunately all the time teams I've been in haven't had any washing machines, so it's, you know, basically do yourself, or they don't do it, you know. I wash my gloves every day as well. I used to just climb straight in, as I've taken my clothes off and then washed them, I'd keep my gloves on, you know. And if I get in the shower, then I'll wash my gloves just with soap, just that I'm going to wash myself with, and then scrub them together, palm over top, every time I wear them, and then just take them off, wring them, like squeeze them out under cold water, put them inside a towel, roll them up and wring them out, and then when they're wrung out like that, like you wring that towel really tight, you just get your glove and just shake it open so the leather comes open again, and leave it somewhere where it's not warm, and you'll save your gloves for forever, you know. I mean, I'm not talking about a week or a month, you'll save them for 6 months if you look after them really good. And I look after my gloves really good, and you know, they're team gloves. I wash them every day, wear them every day, and I'll have gloves for 2 or 3 months, you know. I mean, by that time they're like, you know, they're pretty wrecked, but the chamois is still clean. If you don't wash them and that grime gets in there, it's really bad for hygiene. It's, you know, it's smelly and it looks rotten as well, you know. So it's only 5 seconds work, but that's about all I do during a day, 160 days a year.
Allan, you know, with all that preparation and all the notice and everything that you get, what do you think happens to a situation like Roche in the Tour last year, or Delgado missing the start of a race? Is that pretty stupid?
Well, apparently with Stephen, he swears by it, and Dirk does as well, that it wasn't Stephen's fault. The director made a mistake and told him that, for instance, the time of the start was 3:15. And Stephen had timed it perfectly, like a time trialist and a professional usually does, that he's warming up until, say, 7 or 8 minutes before the time trial starts. Get to the start, sign your name, you're there for the 5-minute countdown, you start with the team and you're away. But Steve had a bit of nerves or stomach cramps or whatever he had, and he had to go to the toilet, and the other guys were just going to roll around a bit further. So he left them and went to the toilet. The other guys had rolled around. As I was riding around, someone said, "You're starting at 3:10 instead of 3:20." So they went to the start and they said, "Where's Steve?" But Steve thought it was just the other way around. Sorry.
Well, the big problem was that there was a little bit a war between Roger de Vlaming and Steven Roche. And Steven didn't talk to the Vlaming, and the Vlaming didn't talk with Steven. And what happened, the other director sportif, he called him a director sportif, but he isn't. The French guy, Mollet is his name. He said on the parking, start at 4:24, and the start was at 4:14. So it make a difference of 10 minutes. And I hear it, and I said, "Guys, look out, it's 10 minutes earlier." But Steven didn't hear it. And what happened, Steven was training on his own. We were training, the car was behind him. I was sitting in the car behind the riders, but because it's like when there is a team time trial, I will always be there. When the team of Guido Post, I was near post. Whenever I could follow the race, I did it. Otherwise, I never followed the race, but team time trial, I like that. It's so beautiful to see. And so Steven we went training, and Steven said to me, I have, my legs aren't so good, and he wasn't not so good at that moment, because I think he never ended Tour de France, but yeah, he will do the best. And what happened, he went riding a little bit alone, because he would sweat a little bit more than the others did already. And then nobody thought about that he has to be there he would be there at 24, but we started at 14, so he was 6 minutes too late, and then he started 6 minutes behind our team, and that was the problem. The first thing was the discussion between the Vlaming and Roche. That's the problem.
And I think with Delgado, that was probably a bit of his own fault, actually. I mean, he might have been caught up with autographs, and because he'd won the year before and everyone was hanging around him and all, but well, I don't know the inside story of that, but that was a bit of a disaster as well. If you've won the Tour before, you know, everybody's normally, you know yourself, if you're going to work, you set the clock, and you're really worried that you're going to sleep through the clock or whatever, you know, or the clock's not going to go off. And if you're riding a time trial and you've won the Tour de France the year before and you think you can win it again and there's a prologue, you know what time you've got to start. I mean, you know, to mess up like that, that's real, you know, that's...
That was it. I asked Manuel, is the Soigneur of Delgado, and I asked Manuel what happened with Delgado. He said it's only nerves, it's only nerves. He said it's not possible to happen that somebody is too late on a time trial. Everybody has to know when he starts. And now this year he come to find me, he said, what happened with Roche? It was the same problem, you understand?
What did he say then? What did he say that was the problem with Delgado?
He said only nerves, and he was so...
Nothing else?
Yeah, nothing else. He was so thinking about the prologue, he has to do good, and he was so nervous about the prologue, because it was a prologue, it was really in his... he can do maybe first, second or third. That was the prologue that Brugge won in Luxembourg, yeah. And Brugge won that prologue, and he could do certainly in the first three, Delgado, because it was a little hill.
That's right, yeah.
That was the problem.
Any more questions?
Hygiene. Is that source still a problem, or is improved hygiene reduce that as a problem?
I used to have a bit of saddle sores when I was younger. That's because I ride with chamois, is that what you call them? Chamois. You leather, and used to put cream and stuff in that, and that adds, you can get bacteria and stuff in that. But even if I washed it all the time, you never get all that bacteria out. And in the end, I stopped using cream as well, you know. Didn't use cream with chamois anymore. I used to wash with the washing machine and then rub them hard together and just ride with it like that. And now I'm using synthetic chamois, and I really like synthetic chamois. They dry quick. There's no bacteria because they wash really well. Even in the race, when you're sweating, they dry so quick. You know, I think synthetics are really fantastic. But one thing that really helped me when I was a kid, well, say 19 and 20 years old, when I was having all these problems with saddle sores, is I'd go out training in the winter and when it was cold, and then I'd come home straight away. Well, get a bucket or a sort of a bowl of freezing cold water, you know, and just sit my backside in that. Just like sit there. As soon as I came in, that was the first thing I did, was get a bucket from my backside. I used to do one for my feet as well for circulation, because it really improves your circulation. So sometimes I come in, take my shoes off, take my shorts off, I have one feet in hot water and my backside in cold water, you know. But the cold water, what that did is it closes down a little tiny capillaries in your backside where there's a lot of blood circulation, like I was talking about before with cold. But what it does is it closes it down, and then as you get out of the cold water, then the blood rushes back in and opens them right up, and like really gets a good circulation in there. And I've never had any problems ever since. I did that for 3 or 4 months and I haven't had a saddle sore since, I don't think. It's really, really amazing, but it's only a matter of circulation. It's just the same thing like I said with the feet, you know, sometimes you're experiencing cold feet, or, you know, like not even when you're out training, but during the day or something, you know, you do a bit of that and it's really good. I do that a lot in the start of the year before a race as well. If we're going to it's outside, it's really cold and it's a bit cold in the room or something, I'll just go and put my feet in the basin. I'll put one foot in the basin and then swap feet or something in hot water. Get your shoes on and you're ready to go. It just gets the whole circulation of your legs moving as well. Good question, that. Anything else?
anything you do in particular to promote recovery, like in a stage race, you got to get up and go the next day? Are there anything special things you do besides the massage, obviously, but
Stretching.
prop your legs up?
I do a bit of meditation, relaxation meditation. I found that really, really good. If you can get a like relaxation cassette, I'm sure there's like California's the hub of, you know. But relaxation tapes are really, really good, you know. Try and get one that tells you how to relax your body, you know. Tells you or guides you through it, you know. It doesn't just say, you know, like or plays soft music or something like that, but obviously tells you, like the one I've got tells you to visualise the colours and tells me to relax the top of my head, then my forehead, my cheeks, my jaw, down into my neck, like you're feeling the skin and stuff, then you relax and you really feel a great relaxation, you know. And I think that really recovers, like the guy who won Tour of Spain this year, what was his name? Maori. He was using these new glasses that have coloured lights behind them, because the coloured lights have you know, a big effect on the relaxation process of the body. Colour is an effect on us, you know. A different colour, why does it, you know, red, you know. Bulls go for red, and there's different colours that affect us as well. And he said that, or the people who were promoting this said that it added 4 or 5 hours sleep by using this for half an hour after the stage. And if I come in, I've had a shower, I've done all my stuff, I've got half an hour and I got rid of before I go to a massage, and I've got rid of my teammate, then I've got half an hour, lock the door, or give him the key to take with him so no one comes to annoy me and I don't have to worry about getting up. And I just lay down there with my headphones on and I can relax my body right out, relax all these tight muscles and everything. Then I go for a massage and then I'm ready to rock again, you know. I really think that helps.
Just conscious relaxation.
Yeah, conscious relaxation, because just relaxing like that, laying on the bed watching TV, forget it. You know, there's no relaxation involved in that. It's keeping just as wound up as you are. The quicker you can relax your body after the race, the more relaxation time you've got, the more energy you'll have for the next day. But, you know, be careful a little bit with the relaxation tapes you buy, you know, because some of them have subliminal messages on them. You know, and ask about that if you're gonna get something like that, because the subliminal messages mightn't be right for you. Subliminal messages are messages that are put into a tape that you can't hear, that are lower than your hearing threshold. But animals and dogs and, well, dogs are animals, but you know, animals can hear, you know, that we humans can't, because we can't hear decibels that low or that high, whatever it is. And they'll pump that in there, but if those messages aren't right for you, you know, they can have, because they go straight into the subconscious, not through the consciousness, they go straight into the subconscious. They're programmed there, and if they're not right for you, then that can have detrimental effects.
You ever heard of any tapes that subliminally say win the stage tomorrow?
There's a company that makes them in Salt Lake that actually does.
Yeah, that could be right. But if you bought anything like that, I'd like to see you get a form that came with a cassette that said what the subliminal messages were. I worked with a psychologist last winter in Australia.
There was a school in Belgium also, the LSP school they call it, Leading Successful People. And Henny Peiper and René Martens went to it. And that's a school, Leading Successful People. They talk with you during 1 week, and they said you are the best one and nobody is better. And they give you a kind of a brainwash, and they try to, that you feel and that you understand about yourself that you will be the best one. And a lot of people out of sports did it, but now by law they have forbidden it in Belgium and Europe to do classes like that, because a lot of people get crazy after it. But like for Henny Peiper, I talk about that with him. He said it helped me a lot, because Henny Peiper, when he talked, he did what's that? Stuttering. It is for stuttering, and it helps him a lot to speak easier, and it helped him also to, he was afraid about some things and he could forget that after the class he followed. But it's like René Martens, I think he get a little bit crazy afterwards.
But the thing is with the subliminal messages, if you can get a piece of paper with a cassette that said what it is, that you can read that and think about those messages, and that enhances it as well. I worked with a psychologist last winter in Australia, and he's done a lot of work with Russians, with the Americans, with people from NASA, with, you know, spies from all over the world and things like that. So he's really a top man, and he had some subliminal tapes, and one of them was winning. And we did a lot of tests on the computer and stuff, and I had problems with self-esteem, and with healing, which I was going through an emotional period from family-wise, and he made up a cassette double-sided for that, which I really felt helped me, you know. But the winning cassette came also with a piece of paper that gave me the messages. I feel good, I feel great, I can do it, you know, things like that. And I really felt it had benefit. You wouldn't believe the power I had from it. I rode the start of the season down in Spain there, and sometimes I'd be thinking, God, this last hill I'll never get up this 3 times, you know, I'll never get up it, I can't do it. But that's already the negative. You're talking about yourself trying to talk it out of it, you know. You're setting up a negative cycle in your mind, and that negative cycle goes to the muscles, and that's negative muscle energy. And when I would think of some of these messages that I've been listening to, that I knew, I feel power, I feel good, you know, and try to say them as positively as I could in my mind, I felt better, you know. It's really weird, but like I said, if you're going to do stuff like that with relaxation tapes, just, you know, try and get some good advice on it. Make sure there's no subliminal messages in it, and you know, use your own discretion.
I think also that's a little bit the work of the soigneur to talk with the rider when he's on the massage table, and to give him new power, and to talk about what's good for him and what's bad for him, and to give him a new morale to start a new day, totally new. Also here, not alone the legs and the back and what you give a massage is also mental. It's very important. You can speak to an athlete and say, look, that's important, and you have to do it like that, and you're better than that one, and what you think we could do it like that and that. You have to give him a kind of yeah. That's very important. It's one of our jobs also.
Any questions anymore?
Yeah. Once you do get boils or saddle sores with you, what's the best way, quickest way to get rid of them?
Dirk better tell you that. He's a soigneur. If you get sores on your backside from saddle.
Yeah. The best one, if you have there exist creams for it, especially when you have a hard skin or like bulls coming on it, then you have special cream for it. But the best thing you can do is you take hot water and you put chamomile tea in it, 4 or 5 seconds, and you go sit in it. When it's cooled down a little bit, and you can you go sitting in it for 10 minutes. That's the best we can do.
That'll relax
and
the
also
circulation.
every morning you wash it with cold water and a natural soap. And the most, like Allan said, I wash the chemicals. Yeah, the chemicals in the soap. But that's the problem now, because if you wash the leather shorts with a good soap, a natural soap, you'll never get problems with it.
Could I make perhaps some of the products in America that are available, that aren't available in Belgium? One soap, I think, the kind of soap that you could find here that would work for that, unless you can wash your cycling clothes, is the Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap. Because that's an all-natural soap, and you could, that works great for not only...
Is that liquid?
Yeah, it's a liquid peppermint soap. It's available. It's in peppermint, and it's in eucalyptus and almonds. It's available in any store.
You don't have to read the bottle. You don't have to read the whole.
No, it's just...
It's good reading, though.
There's also something called Cleanse, which is an antibacterial agent, and if you use that when you shower, every time you shower after you ride, it'll help to make the saddle sores go away, and also it helps to prevent them.
Plus, in drugstores, there's a product called Boilies, a cream.
Yeah, so I use it.
But important as well,
That's what guys say too, they don't get them cut out.
never wear new shorts without washing them first.
Yeah.
Because you know you've got people handling them.
Normally when the riders have new shorts in our team, I always find the shorts, and I have a kind of ether, and I clean it with ether, because you take if it's a natural chamois who's in it, you take the fat away out of it, and then it's very dry, and then I do it 3-4 times with a special cream, and I let through it in a second time, a third and fourth time. Then the day off I give him the short, and then the short is good for 6 or 7 months, and it's
Not without washing them, though.
Like Allan said, he preferred the new ones, not anymore the natural ones. But there are a lot, and I think more than 60% of the riders, they like more the natural chamois because it's sitting better. And now they have a new system in the Decente team, in the Decente factory. They make the shorts, and it's a totally different form they have, and they stick it over in all different parts of it. I don't think you've seen it, but I've seen it from Riese and Betchert in the 6 days of Ghent. And it's a totally new formula that they have, and you can't, the problem is always, if you have a chamois, it's going like that, and you're sitting on it.
Yeah.
And then you have the balls and now they have a special system, and they stick it over, and it's not possible anymore to have that, and you have them more
It's an
problems with it.
antibacterial chamois.
What?
It's antibacterial.
No, it's a natural chamois, but they have a special system to stick it.
They're not putting the seams through the chamois anymore, is what you're saying.
But also that leather that's not available in the United States, but that leather has been treated for antibacterial.
Yeah, that's possible. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's a totally different. It's a different form. It's like that. It's coming over like that 2 times, and then over. And it's a. So
There's a thin part in the middle for your crutch.
Right, it's like
Yeah.
hourglass.
Yeah.
If you have a saddle sore and you still have to keep riding, you can take a bandage and cut a hole out of the center of it so that blood may go like a little donut out of it.
Right, just like a different blisters.
On the chamois, now what do you use as a chamois lube? Do you use the commercially prepared chamois fat for the leather type stuff? What kind of lubricants do you guys
Noxzema.
use? Noxzema? Okay.
It's a face wash.
Good charge.
I don't use anything.
But we use also often the cream they use to milk the cows.
Bag balm.
Yeah, it's a very, you can have it, it's a little bit perfumed, and we use it often. And like in the 6 days, it's a very, you have a lot of problems with the saddle, because you have to ride behind Durners, and when you ride behind Durners, you're just coming in the corner, and you push a lot on the saddle. So every corner you take, every 100 meters, it's, and you go up, it's going like that behind the Durners, because you're riding so, and what happens, you have problems, irritation and things like that. And there we use a very fat cream on it, and we do always, again and again, more and more.
Okay, so it's very thick on.
Yeah, you ride a point race, and afterwards you have a medicine. The medicine is finished. You do new fat in it again. They ride behind the dentist. They're coming down. You wash them off. New fat again. They never change the short, but they do always more fat in it. And often you can see them. They're getting off the bike. There's all fat on the shorts and on the saddle. But you have to use a lot. You have to, if you're sitting dry, you have problems, because on the track you slip on it.
But you're gonna use something that's gonna wash out too, like Vaseline.
And normally in the 6 days, the Soigneurs, they don't wash the chamois for 2 or 3 days, and they have a little with that a spoon. They take a spoon, put the fat off, they put it in the box again, let it dry it a little bit, and they offer the new fat again. It's like that.
What other?
It's economic also.
I noticed you recommended Noxzema. I know that Noxzema on those natural leather chamois tends to dry them out. Do you just put on more Noxzema once it's real dry? You know, they'll get real leathery and just like a old stale tortilla.
Without rubbing them together.
You just rub them together and that
Got 2 sides of it and really rub them like that.
And that won't crack the chamois when it's dry or anything like that? Okay.
And why it's so good to use the cream they use for the cows, that's also something in to disinfect it. It's disinfected.
You can get that here at like mountaineering stores.
Are the cows in America?
Oh,
Not in Palo Alto.
I told all the Californians.
Thank you.
You can try it.
On the recovery thing, are there any particular foods or anything that you guys would really recommend as far as a right after you ride type of thing? I know they recommend fruits or simple carbohydrates or, you know, a little, is there anything?
It's like that, like if you do a Tour de France and you have the preparation of the Tour de France, you need some vitamins and minerals. Mm-hmm. And it's like that we do some blood tests, and then you can see that iron can be low, magnesium can be low, or calcium or something like that, and then you take a surplus, a bonus to recover and to have it on the good level again. But you can do a lot with food also. And if there are riders like Dirk de Wolf, he's sweating a lot during the race. He's always wet and wet, and he's sweating a lot. But he's drinking sometimes 18 or 20 bottles in the stage like Tour de France.
But I would say, you know, I've heard from different people, the quicker you can get carbohydrate into you, the quicker your recovery can be. Because your depletion's down, you know, after the race. If you're going to wait 2 or 3 hours to drive home, or 2 or 3 hours before you go to dinner at 7:30, that means 2 or 3 hours less of recovery time. So, like if we're riding the Tour de France, we might have, you know, something straight after the finish, like a drink, especially a tonic drink or something like that. We'll get back to the hotel and they'll have a room made up where we have some muesli, or they'll make spaghetti or something. So as soon as we get in, like even before we go for a shower, bowl of spaghetti or a bowl of muesli, or bircher muesli or something where they'll add extra honey and stuff, so we go upstairs and you can eat that. That'll set you off already for recovery.
I have a question about eating during training.
We're just going to start about diet now.
During racing, and that's such a good point for you to start.
So first I would tell what's my work on the team. Yeah, normally I get up very early in the morning, and then we make the food for the race. And we order little rolls in the bakery, and the rolls like that. We cut them. We take the middle out, and then we fill them up with bananas, or with we have a kind of vanilla cream and with raisins in it, and we bake some apple cake and things like that, and we get that and some muesli bars and things like that. We prepare the bottles, mineral and carbohydrate, because if you're riding a lot, you use a lot of calories. You need the carbohydrate. If you're riding a lot in the warm weather, you lose a lot of magnesium and things like that. So you need the minerals who are in it. So you have always two different bottles in your on your bike. Then afterwards we call up the riders, and they come down for the breakfast, and then usually I'm there on the table to help them if they need something to give them. And the day before we prepared a kind of muesli that's all cereals and fresh fruit. We put it in together with white cheese and yogurt together. And sometimes we put, it's a liquid like Rose Visée, it's called, and it's a kind of carbohydrate drink, and you do it normally in water to drink it, only to have a taste, but it has a lot of calories, so we put it also into the muesli. Then afterwards the riders prepare their suitcases, and we load them in the truck to go to the finish line or to the other hotel where we stay.
Some of these hotels are 3 stories high and there's no lift, so they got 20 suitcases and 20 bags. Down the stairs, they can only take 2 at a time, so it's down the stairs and outside, and sometimes they've got a long walk, hard work as well.
And that's the reason why I could take Adrian on my shoulder. Because I do a lot of exercise. And afterwards then, if they go to the start on the bike, we warm up the legs in the hotel, or we ride them in the car to the start, and there we warm up the leg. Then once when you go to the hotel to prepare everything to make the different rooms and to select it, to make all the package in the rooms, and he prepares something to eat after the race. One time it's muesli, one time it's a little spaghetti. Some riders like Francis Moreau, he want only some ham, cheese and bread. That's all he wanted. It's not good, but he wanted after the race, so you said, yeah, okay. I tried to change it, but it's not possible with him. all-time riders and pursuers are special people, so you have to handle him special. And then the soigneur who's in the hotel, he is also in charge to go shopping, what you need for the day after and the day after, and to order fresh rules and fresh tarts, like cakes and everything like that. And then once one year go to the feed zone to give him the bags for 1 feed zone or 2 feed zones, and then you go to the finish line. When the riders coming at the finish line, you have to wash them off with the whole alcohol, and you wash out the legs, and they go on bike or with a car to the hotel. And then we start normally the massages. But my first work is always when I come in the hotel, I pass every room and every rider to ask him how it was, how the day was. And then I can give me already a little idea about how he was during the race, and maybe the morale was a little bit low, and then I can already start thinking what I'm going to tell him on the massage table. And then we start the massage. I can't say I do it 40 minutes or 50 minutes. It depends how the rider is mental, and it depends how hard the legs are. I told it already yesterday, if you will be a good soigneur, you have to look with your hands, you have to feel how he is, you have to take care of him. And sometimes I give massage. One year Theodore got a lot of problems, and sometimes I was 1.5 hours busy with him. And it depends rider to rider how long you're working. I give a few times massage in Switzerland to Hübner, the sprinter. He has legs like that. So you need more time to give a massage than you have Allan Peiper on your table. And then afterwards we go eating, and after eating we go on with the massage. But next year will be a lot easier for me, because the Italian riders don't like to have a massage after eating. They work until finished, and then they go eat. But often the Italian and Spanish teams, they eat only at 9 o'clock in the evening. And that's often a problem when you go to the Tour of Spain or little tours in Spain, because they eat so late. And after giving massage, I do always a tour of all the rooms with the riders, and I have a short talk with them what they want to eat the day after. And it's also the work of the soigneur. Like if we go to the Tour de France, I write a letter to every hotel with the menu I want. I look to the schedule, where if there's a prologue, a time trial, team time trial, if it's in the hills, and I make a menu with a lot of calories in it, what we want in the morning and the evening. And that's a little bit our work in the team. Are there any other questions?
Patty and Niki, can you kind of give any further idea or contrast?
What Dirk does is basically what we do too. We usually don't have long races like Dirk, and like in Europe they have very long points-to-point races. We're usually it's a lot easier for us. We do the same work, but it's a lot easier. Our day usually starts out the same as Dirk's, getting up first, making sure the riders know when they will be getting up. We've prepared our food the night before, because we like to be able to do everything in the morning that we have to do, pack the vans, get everything organized. There's always some rider that needs something. There's always something that seems to be an emergency that you have to be there for.
You have also two kinds of soigneurs. You have soigneurs that they like to organize everything and to make the little rolls, and if they have good food for the riders, they are so happy. I was here in the Tour, the depot, with a guy, Case is his name, and he's an older guy, he's a good soigneur, and he liked it to make all the food for the riders. It's really coming from his heart. And I'm more a soigneur who take care of the rider, and I can concentrate me on the race and talk with him and busy with tactics and everything. So you have two kinds, and I think it's important. I learned that with Peter Post in all the years I was there. You have to, the food, it's important, but you have people who has to work really with the riders and to think about tactics and to be, that the riders are mental good and everything. And that's the reason also what I told already stories about him. He's coming in the room and said, "What happened today?" "Oh, it's okay." "How were the riders?" "That's okay, Peter." "Why was Peiper behind?" And then he make fire behind me, And then I have to react it on him. And then I had to go to Allan and said that would happen, and why weren't you there? And tomorrow, you understand? It's very important. I can tell a little story about that. That you have to be a little bit psychologist. One year we were in the tour of Belgium, and I got not a good contact with the other soigneur, and he was a little bit jealous on me, and I was a little bit jealous on him. But he was one of the greatest soigneurs, really. I respect him a lot, and he respects me a lot, because now he stopped it to be a soigneur because he has an own factory home, and I'm working still with his products, and we have a good contact now. But there is no more. It's like two big riders in a different team. They are fighting to be the best one, and we were also fighting to be the best one. And Allan was second or third in that stage, and let's see, and he has to go to the control. And the other soigneur said nothing. And at night at 10 o'clock, there was a guy coming from the organization and said to me, Allan Peiper wasn't on the control. I could die that moment because he's positive, he's not there. So I go to the room to Allan and said, Allan, you didn't go to the control. He said, why? I didn't know, I have to go. Nobody said something. But you know, if you're in the first three, you have to go to the control. But yeah, you're beat it, you're second or third, I don't remember. You don't think about that, you're a little bit down because another won and he could win the stage. What happened? We take the car and we ride down to Namur. It was maybe 80 keys to go there in the night to find the doctor, because I know the doctor who did the control. We got to his house, everything was closed. We phoned up to Dr. Dirk, he do all the controls and all the things in Europe. So we couldn't find him and said, yeah, we tried to find another one. We called 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 times. And he said, yeah, tomorrow you wait with him 3 hours. He has to do to piss, and you have to piss a second time. And then we can know if it's positive, yes or no. But there are rules, and nobody want to do it from the organization. So I phoned the doctor. I found his son home, and he said he's with family in Waver. So we phoned the doctor, and he come at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then we got a long talk in the car and everything. And in the morning, go to Allan's room. He go to the control. We come back. And we start talking about everything. And at least I said, Allan, you can prove only that you are honest if you win the stage today. You remember? And then what happened, there's a stage that was a very hard hill at the end. And it's a stage when we're never going to talk about winning in such a stage, because it's almost not possible. So what happened, Allan was so motivated after a lot of talking, after all what happened before. Allan won the stage. He get away alone and they couldn't catch him back. He lose maybe 2 minutes in the last, or 1 minute 30 in the last 15 kilometers. But you win the stage. And that's what I mean with about if you're a soigneur, you have to be a little bit psychologist also. And that are all little things you remember your whole life. Then you win that stage, and it's so, you feel so happy, you feel so great, it's unbelievable. And that are the most funny and the most good things out of cycling.
But he also feels bad when I lose as well.
Yeah.
Like in Zurich in 88.
I can be really sick, you know. It's like that. You work for something, and he said, yeah, Zurich is important, and Allan was really good at that moment. And the race started very slowly, and everything was turning real good for Allan. And then at the end, they catch him back, and I've been sick for 3 days. Really, I did.
It was such a good break. It was like all the guys who you expect to be in a World Championship final, like Criterium and Roche, Anderson, Sørensen. There was 10 guys, and I was a maximum as well. I got over the last climb with them and got away, and got caught just a little bit from the finish. And Criterium chased me down, but he must have had an agreement with a couple of other riders, because he finished 9th and I was 10th. But he bridged the gap with Roche. But Roche wanted to ride with me, but Criterium wouldn't ride. So that's why I was talking about tactics before. So then we eased because he wouldn't ride, and he would have beaten us in the sprint. The other guys got on, they started attacking. When I got back to the hotel, we rode in, Dirk said, you write really good, but it was written all over his face.
Yeah, it's really like that. Like, you can work with people, and that's why I like this job so much. It's the work you do for it, and you have success on it. Like, I come to Colorado in '86. I was here for 4 weeks with Michel Varn, and he was 5 or 6 kilos too heavy, but he's a real lazy boy. So we worked out a training program, and I get behind him with the car and everything. Every morning he was on the table. I said, you can't eat that salad, you can't eat that fruit, no bread, no that, not that. I take him a bidon, like a havermout,
porridge.
Yeah, almond porridge. I put it in water, I cook it. I give him only the water from what I cook. He has to train on that for 80 keys and things like that. He didn't eat at midday, so he lose the kilos, and he was really feeling bad. And then we started building up with sugars and everything, and carbohydrates, and 3-4 days before. And he was training with the amateurs, and every 5-6 kilometers, every hill he got, he was dropped off the amateurs. And he feels so bad, he said, it's not possible, I can't ride on Sunday, they're gonna drop me off. I said, man, Sunday you will be there, and you're world champion, I'm sure you will be world champion. But I thought only about the point race. But what happened, he goes on Saturday he called training on Thursday, and he feels so good. He said, Dirk, I'm ready for the world champions. I'm real ready, I feel it today. And the guys were coming back. Brunel was an amateur then, and Brunel come down in my room. He said, "What happened with Varden today? He was riding like a fool. He has taken something, or what happened?" He said, "No, he's ready for the race. Now he trained during 4 weeks, and now he has to be good in 2 days, Saturday and Sunday." And what happened? They have the selections for the final, and he was fourth, and only the first 3 go to the final. Then they have the repechage. Repechage, and he win that, so he go to the final. And in the final, I said to Michel, "You're ready, man. You can't lose now." But I was already thinking about the day after, because it was the point race, and I thought that the point race you have a bigger chance to win than the Keirin, because in Keirin you have to have a little bit chance. And he was sprinting so great, it was unbelievable. He lead out at 2 laps from the end. And he sprinted really, and he take maybe five bikes before, and they're coming back, and they let them come, and he looks, and then he sprinted the second time. It was so great. He became world champion, and the feeling was so great. And he came to me, he said, "Thank you, man. We did it very good during those 4 weeks." I said, "No, listen. I think tomorrow you can be world champion in the point race." He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, you can be world champion in the point race also." So you have always to go on and again and again. And what happened, he was second after Fröhler. But Fröhler was riding maybe with 5 or 6 guys together. And he lose with 4 points, but he has the silver medal also. So that are things you're so happy after the work you've done. You were a little bit beloond from your life. Satisfaction.
Rewarded.
It's a little bit like satisfaction after all you've done for it.
Where was I? I don't have any stories like this, you guys.
You finished with, there's always a problem that comes up.
There's always a problem.
Yeah, so
The rider always needs something.
Yeah,
we
that's
haven't
the
left
morning
the races
race.
yet.
We even haven't left yet. Basically, it's the same situation. We get breakfast ordered. We're a lot different than Dirk in the fact that we eat at restaurants. I don't, American riders, I don't organize their menus in the morning. They know what to ride, what to eat. I remember yesterday Dirk saying that at races, Dirk does their menu and they eat that, and then they go home and then they'll eat whatever they want. A lot of riders, you said, that they'll just go home and eat whatever they feel like eating. The riders on the Coors Light team usually eat better at home than when they're on the road. They're very organized with their nutrition and what works for them best. When we go on the road is when they suffer more. So they usually get into us. I'll make the muesli like Dirk does, but they really would rather be home eating their own food rather than restaurant food. But it's all we have, so we do that. We eat while they're eating. The mechanic and myself have usually been up for a good hour before. Before they go to breakfast, we take their bags. They usually have their carry bag, just their race bag is what we call it. Then they leave that in their room so that they can put whatever they've had on back into the race bag and have their racing equipment there. While they're eating, we're packing the vans, ready to go. We have the race food is organized before they leave the hotel if we don't have a long way to go. If not, we'll have it at the race. Race food consists of mostly things that we're sponsored by, but I do supplement other things. We've got power bars that we race with. We use Endura for our drink. We also have another drink that I usually give after the race. It's called Endura Opti. It's a high caloric. It's a good replacement drink for them. And then water. I don't like to use Cokes, but we do have Cokes for last feeds or whatever. The sugar, the caffeine helps them get to the end. So, pardon me?
Why would you like to use it?
It's just, some of the riders won't use it. There's some riders that just, because it's caffeine, because it's sugar, because it's a fast blast, it's not something that's really gonna, it helps you to the end. If I do use it, it will be for the last feed, to give them that, you know, psychological whatever, but be able to use it.
Maybe Dirk has a comment on that. Do they supply their riders in the last feed zone with a bin of a concentrated glucose, caffeine mixture?
Coffee?
Or how much?
Like
Do you have any
Cokes.
special
People
thing
drink
you give in the last feed zone?
1 year in the Tour de France, we I just asked to write everything down they eat and drink in the. And I didn't understand very good the question, but I'm going to tell something about.
Another subject.
They write everything down what they eat and drink, and what happened. The result was that the best carbohydrate drink is Coca-Cola, but it's not good for your body if you use it a lot, because there's a lot of sugar in it, there's a lot of caffeine in it. But what happened? You have full and empty calories, we call them, like lemonade, Coca-Cola, sweets. There's a lot of calorie, but they are empty. You can do a very short effort on it. But you have also the full calories, like brown bread, like spaghetti, things like that, like the things who are in muesli bars and everything.
Wholemeal products.
Yeah, wholemeal products. That's and longer time, it's better for your body. And also the cakes we we order in the bakery, they were the good calorie deliverers in the Tour, because they give a lot of fat also. But if you have too much, it's not good for your body either. You understand? But they give the most calories in the feed we give to the riders. But normally the riders get never Coca-Cola from me, never, because it's not good for your stomach. It's not good with the caffeine is in it. It's not good the gas.
If I get Coke in the feed bag, I always give it away. Just got to hold it up, and there's about 1,000 guys gel for it.
And then you attack. That's also tactics.
So like for what you asked about for the final though, he asked what do we get for in the end phase of a race to pick us up, to give us a
Especially
bit
if you're in
of
a position to contest the finish.
Yeah, champ like that. We got with Panasonic team. We got a drink. Coors is the name, and that is a kind of sugar they make from maize. Maize? Corn. So Coors is the name, and we put it in very small bottles, plastic bottles, and you could see it yesterday on the video that Eddie Plank was drinking a very small bottle, and that's a 100 milliliter bottle with a concentrated Coors in it.
And
you have Sam on the market also
we
now.
We can't get that here. The closest
Isn't it made in the States?
Allowed to import that to the
Yeah.
United States.
It's made in the States.
The
Why?
closest thing
Polycourse.
because
Yeah, it's made in the States.
Made in
Sure,
America.
because we have to order it here in
It's
the
from
States.
Florida or somewhere, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Florida.
What's it
Yeah.
I
called?
can have the
Oh, polycourse, it means four
because we have to order and they send the
four
content.
types of sugars.
I think the polycose stuff is used as for diabetics as an
It's
insulin.
used in
Yeah,
hospitals.
yeah, they use it in hospitals.
Hospitals,
Probably by
Yeah.
prescription only.
Possibly, yeah,
Because
by
in
prescription.
Europe,
And I was in a store yesterday. I think it was a Woolworth or something like that. And I saw there were little like cans, and it's Ensure. Ensure.
Yeah.
So that we put also in the little bottles. There are a lot of calories in it. There are fat and
it's
At the end of
it's
the
like
day,
a baby. Yeah.
that will be taken
Yeah,
out.
for
So
people
the
that
Ensure
eat.
in the first 3/4 of the race, and the Polycourse in the last quarter.
That's the last part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus
Because
that
you get your level of sugar in the blood higher. It's also like that if we make muesli. The muesli we make in the morning, there are less sugar in than we make the muesli for after the race. Because before the race, if you eat too much sugar, you get your level, the insulin in your blood, the blood sugar is too high. And then it's go down afterwards when you do an effort. And if you've done a lot of efforts after the race, you need to have new calories. And so we put more sugar in after the race.
Sugars, he means like that's what
Like
we use
carbohydrates.
honey and
Yeah.
carbohydrate things like that. They don't just mean white sugar like tablespoons of it.
Normally the best you can do is when you arrive the race, it's drinking a lot of mineral drinks. And then 1 hour after, you eat something like spaghetti.
It's really important to hydrate yourself.
But it's very
after
difficult
a-
when you
a
have
long ride.
finished at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, at 5 o'clock to eat the spaghetti. But normally it should be the best. And I want to say something also about those drinks. You make a carbohydrate drink or you made a isotonic drink or something like that. You have to hold you on the rules who are on the box because they test everything. And don't think if they said you put 3 spoons for 1 bottle, I put 4 or 5 in it, it's stronger. No, it's not true because you have the, what was the word?
Absorb.
The absorb you got for your body, it's not good. If you drink something like Isostar, or shampoo or extra or something, it's real tested. And it's important, it's coming in the stomach and it's going to your blood. But if you make it too strong, it stays too long in your stomach. And you use a lot of energy and you burn all your minerals. And the minerals you need to, they don't come because it's too strong, you made it too strong. So keep very good attention at what's on the box.
All right.
Well hydrated.
A lot of times in the for the feeds, we have to organize the food for the race, before and after. I like to combine a lot of fruit with like a power bar. Fruits they like are actually, kiwis are really good. They're real self-contained, a piece of fruit that have a lot of energy in them. And they taste really good. You like those?
What do you do with the peelings then?
We peel them.
So you just have
Put them in a bag.
this big lung, and you just grab the bag and munch.
Yeah, and they go out.
What's giving the most calories is dry fruit.
Apricots and stuff. But is dried fruit easy to digest or hard to digest?
No.
No problem. What about the sulfur?
That's the thing, that's the problem with it, is the sulfur. Yeah, it's all sulfur treated, and so that's, a lot of the guys won't eat dry fruit on the team because they know that the sulfur's in it.
Dried dates are really good.
Yeah, dates are
Dried dates
good.
have special sugars.
Dates are good, raisins are good, figs are good.
Figs are very good.
But like the apricots, they seem to put a lot of the sulfur in apricots. There's a lot of times you get to certain places in the United States and you're not going to find fruit that's even going to be ripe for like a week. So we do go to like the dates and figs and that type of stuff, and sometimes we have to use the apricots, but there's some guys that just won't take them. We also do the paninis. Of course, we don't go to the bakery and have them ordered because that's not the situation here. We have to to do our own thing a lot. A lot of times, I've been there for 3 years, and when he first arrived here, I would always, it was like you sort of go next to their cars and sort of look in and go, what are they doing, you know? Because I'm a self-taught soigneur, there's no book on it. You have to look at other places, see what works for other teams, what other riders. You listen to the riders, at least I listen to the riders to see if they have input. What happens in a long season is people get real tired, the riders get real tired of the same thing over and over again. At least in our team, that's one of the biggest complaints. And so I like to listen. My paninis consist of great combinations of different things. It's this real, you know, I'll do a turkey and cranberry panini and give it to the guys. I'll throw bananas in it with bananas and strawberries and put honey in it. It all depends if it's a cold day or if it's a warm day, what type of food I'm going to make for them.
So with the fruit, like don't give them really wet fruit on a wet day, you give them the dry fruit warm.
But it can all change every day.
Because you get sick of eating the same stuff.
You do. The guys will look in the musette and just go,
chuck it away.
oh man. And most of the time they use the musette, whatever's left in the bottom, to fling it farther. They take out the the bottles, and they look in there and they take out what they want, and whatever's left, it gives it a good twirl so that, you know, they can hit the spectators. Yeah, it's like a, you know.
It's good for the riders if you take the stuff out training. I mean, a lot of this stuff will tell you to take out, or Paddy or Dirk will tell you, you know, they put in the feeds. If you don't like that stuff, then there's no point taking it. To get maximum absorption out of a food, you have to like it as well. That's a mental process as well. If you don't like eating something,
there's often like that. A few riders, one don't like cheese and another don't like resins and another don't like that. And we got the rider in the team, Bertie Wekema, and he don't like cheese. And it was always the same. If we were in Tour of Spain, he took his mazin, but we take in the feed zone, we make for everybody the same, because it's almost not possible to give each his name, because you don't have enough people to do that. And after the race is coming, he said, Dirk, I don't like cheese. I said, no, Bertie, tomorrow it will be better. But the day after he come back and said, Dirk, I don't like cheese. And every day he come tell me the same. But it's not possible. And if it's my choice, what I could put in the feed zone and I could give him in the start, I give something totally different than what I do now. But it's not easy to work, because you can do it maybe for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you got enough of it. There are riders like Allan that take care of health and everything. They like dry fruit and so. But in Belgium, 10 riders, 9 don't like that. And it's only 10% who you're satisfied with them. So
a lot of riders, things like in Italy, they'll make little tiny breads with tomato and cheese in it and ham. But riders in Holland don't like that, you know, so they want something else. And riders in France will have cakes, and you know,
it can get really crazy. But what happens is we listen, whatever we can do to, at least what I do. If there's something that's really special that I know, like Roberto does like ham cheese with a tomato, and you know, just to throw one in or to make one, it's not a big deal. For me, it's not. And if it's going to make him ride better and perform better, I'll do that for him. I can't do that in the feed bag. The musettes are all the same. The race food is a little bit easier to do it that way, for myself at least. Dirk's got a saying for us in the Coors Light thing. We're called the picnic girls, because after the race we have sandwiches for our riders, and we have more stuff. It's the way we do it. It's the way we do it.
Down.
No.
But if I'm in Europe after the race, if I see Shelley, you know, when Shelley was there with TVM or something, or if I see Shelley versus that's Phil Anderson's girlfriend, she's been a soigneur with 7-Eleven, American, California, with 7-Eleven and with TVM. But if I saw Shelley or Trudy Roberts from Motorola, or one of these girls, for instance, you know, I'd go to them and ask if they had a sandwich, because I'm pretty good with all the English-speaking riders, but I find that's a lack, you know. But it's not Dirk's fault, but it's just the system, the way the European soigneurs do it against women soigneurs, you know. And you know, I think it's really great to have a sandwich and something to drink and an apple after the race. You know, that's really great. Where our riders like get into the car, they're starving, you know. They do all this talk, all these big soigneurs about, you know, you got to have this, you got to eat that, you got to do that, and then the basics of having something eaten after the race, they forget about it. You know, have a can of Coke or something. I mean, you know, The guys get in there, they're drinking Coke because they're hungry, they're looking in the back for biscuits and rubbish. Anyone got nothing to eat?
They're looking in their pocket to see if there's any more race food.
Yeah, and they hate the race
After
food. If
starting
they're
right
really
now,
hungry,
it's like, oh.
they'll eat the race food. See, that's
So we do things like that. That helps. That's part of, because we know it's going to be maybe 2 to 3 hours before they're going to be able to have dinner. You know, and so we have that prepared. We have juice. We have that type of stuff for the ride back. We like to wrap it up as fast as we can, but sometimes we get a little carried away. I mean, I admit 100%. But from there we go to the hotel, and it's the same thing. The guys shower, and like Allan said, he gets a piece of paper that says what's going to happen for the day. We usually put ours on the door. There's usually one of us at the hotel that has already checked in, and there to give out keys and make sure everyone knows what, you know, just the basics of what's going to happen for the next few hours. Massage lifts are on the doors or in the rooms, along with their luggage.
There's also, I want to say something about that. I see the American soigneurs that put a paper on the door when you can come for massage. And our team is not like that. First who's ready, come to my table. I don't want to lose time. And there was every day a fight between the Roy and the Peiper to be the first one on the table. So don't believe him that he said, I wash everything. When Theo was in the team, he was there to be the first on the table.
Here's it. Theo be riding towards the finish line in the bunch. He'd cross the line. He wouldn't change routes like everybody else. Everybody else would stop on the side for a Perrier or a Coke or get the Soigneur. Where's the hotel? Change rings, you know, put a top on. Theo be riding past. Where's the hotel? First feet on the right, then turn left. Theo pulled up his big ring again. Off he'd go, you know. Sometimes we'd get back to the hotel and Theo's already laying on the massage table. Soigneurs haven't got back yet. What are you doing, Theo? Massage. So they had this joke, man. Anyone that got to the table first was always Theo, you know. I mean, if it was Gould or Van der Oden or anyone, how you going, Theo?
That's all his life could be there.
Only me could be there.
So that. But it was always laughing. And the day before, Theo come to my room and said, tomorrow, you remember that hotel? I think we sleep there last year. And he remembered everything. It's just a computer. He said, is the hotel on the corner with the trees and the corner, and you have a white bank, and we drank a coffee last year together after the massage. Yeah. And that was, you remember the beautiful red car was behind our car? Yeah, Theo, it's there. Okay. And then he paused the finish line, went in, one sprint to the hotel.
Theo used to remember stuff like that all the time, and everyone used to like go insane. I remember going down this climb in 1979. There were 3 guys in front, and I was in a 4-man group behind. I didn't feel too good. We slept in that hotel up there on the hill. Every day he was talking stuff like that. It was just unbelievable.
Well, we don't do that. We have a list on the door, and no one ever misses a massage. If it's a situation where someone that wants to have their massage, there's some guys that don't sleep well, or they just don't want to have a massage directly after they've been racing. They'd rather do it after they eat. And there's a couple guys that do have problems sleeping, and so they like to go on the table last, so that when they get off the table they can go directly to bed and go out. I'm willing to work with the guys like that because I think it's important, because I'm doing something for them. It's important to me that they're sleeping well. That's part of the whole thing. A lot of you guys have had massages. You've got a little bit in the last 3 days. That's the basic massage we give. There's more to it. We usually do backs if there's special problems. A lot of times at training camp, we have a lot more time to work on the guys. We don't do massages every day, at least in our training camp. I do them every other day because there's 13 of them there and there's only 2 of us. So we split them up for an every other day. We usually give a much longer massage at training camp. Then we can do some more corrective stuff and really get them feeling better. At stage races, you don't want to go deep. You don't want to do any corrective stuff. You already want them to be on form, ready to go. So we do more of a massage of what you got. Other than that, going back to the race day, that night we end up cleaning out the vans. If it's been a rain day, Allan's an exception. He's the one. I wish that we hadn't started this, but we did. We do laundry for the guys. It's a bad thing. On rain days, it's horrible because we have to. It's like the first thing to do is to grab laundry, go do it. One of us has got to do it that night. It was nice being in Europe because there's no laundromat, so it's like, sorry guys, you have to do your own laundry. But it was okay. If it's easy, we always make time for it. It's usually the person that goes to do the laundry will do the grocery shopping at the same time for the next day. That's the nice thing about our team is that we do have 2 soigneurs, so it's split up and it's good. After all the guys are taken care of, dinner's done, massages are done. I usually end up washing water bottles, preparing the water bottles for the next day, making sure all the food's ready for the next day, and then usually crawl in bed after about 15 hours or 16 hours of work.
You guys are based in Mexico?
There is a tour of Mexico. There used to be Tour Baja. I did that one 3 times.
What kind of precautions do you take? I mean, you can't do anything with water with that.
Oh, you do bottled water. Everything is bottled. In fact, in Europe, a lot of...
bottled water?
Yeah, you have to. What else are you going to do? You have to.
What about maybe chuck you on it or something?
I did it with Trinity Americas one time, and 7-Eleven went their own, because they were sponsored by Palo.
But it's also in Europe, and you have to use
Europe,
bottled water
all the
because
time.
it's only Switzerland that's okay in Austria,
Yeah.
and some places in Belgium
So they-
and Holland, but
yeah.
other ways in Germany.
So
But
every
like
time you
France,
go to the
Italy,
grocery
and Spain, you don't use the water from there.
Every time you go to the grocery store in Europe, you buy water. Here, we're lucky enough to have a system. There's some water the guys will not drink. It's too chlorinated. It's bad. There's some cities when we go back east, when we go to do Philadelphia, core states, and Pittsburgh, I end up buying water, and I can taste the water. It just doesn't taste good. It's just worth it to have it. The director hates it because it's like wasted money. He feels, but he'll do it. He's like, all right, go ahead, because we have good water here, so we usually don't have to do it. But it works out okay. It's, you got to do what you got to do. Listening to the riders is one of our biggest, I think one of our biggest jobs, and to make their life easier. Are there any questions?
How many hours of sleep, both the American and the European, how many hours of sleep do the riders normally get? Is it, you guys plan on an 8-hour sleep period or a 10-hour sleep period?
As long as possible.
As long as each rider is different too.
How long do you feel you need, I guess?
I probably sleep, when I'm at home, I'm trying to get into bed at 9:30 every night. But I'm a pretty early riser, so even in the summer I'll probably be leaving to go training at 7, like in Australia last week I was going training at 6. But that's just me, and then I sleep in the afternoon. But when I'm in the race, 10:30 is the usual hour, because if you come from the table and you've eaten to 9:15, you just can't go to bed and go to sleep. So I usually wind down a little bit, have a chat outside, get a bit of fresh air, 5 minutes, go back inside, have a read, just do whatever. 10:30, sometimes it's 11 o'clock, and by the time you've got to get up to 7 or 8. So I get up later when I'm at the race than I do at home, so probably 8 or 9 hours.
8 or 9 hours, European as long as possible, and yours is whatever the guys will take.
Yeah, we're kind
It's
of a rebel team. Len is in a situation as a director that he expects the riders to be ready when they come to a race, as far as training and everything goes. I guess that's everywhere. But we don't tell them they have to go to bed at 9 o'clock. That's not our job. A lot of we put some roommates together. We all have to have roommates, so we put some riders together that are complementary to each other because they have the same habits. It's just one of those things. We try to switch as much as we can and give everyone the bad ones, which I'll never tell who they are. But some people just don't need sleep, and some people need 10 hours. Scott Moniger needs 10 hours.
10 hours.
You put him on the table first because he can deal with it. He has dinner and he's directly back into his bed.
Huber sleeps for an hour.
What?
And then Huber sleeps.
And then Chris Huber has a real bad sleep problem. He would like to go to bed at 3 in the morning and wake up at 11. But that's just not, the racing just doesn't deal with that. The promoters, you can blame it on the promoters. But, so he has a real hard time. He's usually last on my table, so I can try to get him to sleep as much as I can. I work his legs, but then I usually work his neck and back to really be able to relax him, to put him out. So he can go directly there and at least mentally be relaxed. He thinks way too much, and so that's what keeps him up. So we like to be able to do that. That's my situation with that one. And like for massage, it's who's having problems where and what. And like Dirk said, it's not, I can't say I give everyone a half-hour massage. It's a flexible thing. And sometimes we run later. Sometimes it's after dinner. So, but we're there to help them with whatever is going to make their life easier, is my attitude, is to try to just, they don't have to think about things. That's what we do. And then we tell them what's going to happen. And 99.9% of the time it works out good. There's sometimes we run into each other and there's things that just don't happen, but you have to be very flexible and very understanding and just go from there.
Any more questions before we close up? Any general questions or?
Any foods to absolutely avoid? Don't eat them other than Crisco lard, slathered on top of a piece of white bread or something
just
like that.
Olives. Whatever's natural.
Olives is not good.
Olives are bad. Why? Because of the oil in them?
There's too much fat in it.
Too much fat, huh?
There's just be sensible about what you eat. Look at,
And I'm
be sensible.
real against all drinks like Coca-Cola, 7-Up, all things like that with gas. It's not good.
How about do you guys ever deal with people who, like, I know Allan is not a big red meat eater. Do you ever run across guys developing protein deficiencies or not getting enough protein? It's easy to get the carbohydrates, it's easy to get the fats, but a lot of times I find that I don't eat much meat. I'm not eating much protein. Allan, does that happen to you? Do you ever find that, I should be eating more protein? Dirk, do you ever run across guys who don't eat enough protein?
You can get your protein through other way though too. You don't have to eat it by eating a cow. You can eat,
I work with Miller together, and he never eat meat, and he's a very good rider. And then you go looking in other things. You can have enough proteins out of other things.
You don't need it out of cheese. You don't need that. Beans and rice are really a good combination.
I think we eat probably too much protein anyway.
Yeah.
For me it's just personal. I like meat. If we go to a restaurant, I'll have meat. I like lamb. I like beef. But I'm not a meat eater. So I'm not a vegetarian either. I like having fish. But at home we never eat meat. My wife's vegetarian. And that's because she doesn't force it on me. I just don't. If it's not there, I just never crave it. The only time I ever want meat is in a big stage race. And sometimes I get it in the stage that I feel I really crave meat, nothing else. I don't want the stuff that's in my pockets, I don't want the stuff that's in my bin cage. And so many times I've gone back to the car and asked the mechanic in the back seat, you got anything for your lunch? What do you got in there?
What do you got your sandwich?
I won't touch ham. I just pork's out for me.
That's another thing.
If I'm craving meat, then I'm back at the car, and the mechanic will be giving me a sandwich with ham and cheese, or ham and cheese and tomato or something. Then I'll be back up in the bunch, and it's just beautiful.
Feels real good.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
If I wait till after the race, then I don't want it anymore.
You don't want it anymore.
It's funny. I read a diet book, and the guy said, I don't eat meat, but he said if you really feel that you want meat, then that's the time to eat it. Well, now I can really say that's the time I have to eat it. I really want it. And sometimes if I go back to the car and they've got nothing, then I'm really upset. I'm not upset, but I want it, I'm frustrated. It's a feeling I want some meat. I really want to eat it. It's my body telling me, man, you're breaking up. You need this.
Sure.
It's not that I don't like meat or I don't believe in killing animals or whatever. It's just not I don't believe in killing animals, but we just eat far too much, and it's just been abused over the last year.
And so I guess it all just comes back to what your body is telling you. Become attuned to what your body is telling you. If you smell that meat and it sounds real good, have the meat.
Not just because it's there. It's like everything we spoke about the last 3 days. Everything really is just listen to being a human being.
Just listen to yourself. You want to be an athlete. You are an athlete. You know what you're missing. And eat good stuff. Don't do frozen vegetables. California, we have so much. We have the biggest vegetable area in the store. It's bigger than anything else. Go there. Pick everything out from there. do. No, that's ridiculous. It's not that hard to steam vegetables.
what
Steam
you
them
eat.
so they're crisp. Don't steam them so they're mushy. Eat whole grains, eat brown rice, eat barley. Combine things in your rices. Don't just make rice. Make barley and rice and other things, millet, and throw it all in and cook it together. That gives you different flavors. And
Gives you full proteins as well.
yeah, and it gives you variety. There's nothing worse than doing things every day.
Now, a lot of people I see at the market buy these lean cuisine and these frozen stuff, and it does save time because people are busy, you have a job, you have other responsibilities. You may save some time cooking that now, but you'll probably live 5 or 10 years longer at the end of your life if you don't eat a lot of processed crap. It may
Baked
take you
potatoes
10
are
minutes more to prepare the vegetables
Baked
and the
potatoes
salad and
are
all.
fantastic, and you can make a whole meal on baked potatoes with vegetables on top.
Salad's the
You know?
easiest for me.
Salad is
Go to the
great
shop,
too.
get 6 or 7 different types, wash it in some salt water,
Yeah.
chop it up, chuck it in a plate. No dishes to wash.
So
Easy
it's
to
not-
eat, doesn't fill you up too much. Great.
So do it
Don't put
that
on weight
way.
with it.
Don't do it, don't go the easy way out. I mean, that is the easy way out, but especially living in California, you have no excuses.
No excuses.
You live in Ohio, you're in big trouble.
Lettuce is $2.
And it's only iceberg lettuce and it's usually brown on the corners. So that's just something,
Well, if there aren't any other questions, I'd like to,
We have one more thing.
I really liked it.
these folks have some special plans and
So
stuff.
I think we're gonna close the school here, and Allan and I decided to give each a jersey, one from Tulip and one from the Tontontapi team, and we decided to give it to the most attentive, the most active guy here in the school, and it was very difficult for us to make a decision. And Allan, we make the choice.
We've given 2 equals. That's these 2 guys here in the second row. So pick a jersey. They're both winners.